Welcome back to the DevOps Detroit Podcast. As you can see, it is not your normal host. Today, I'll be hosting Colette Jones. With me today, I have Alexis, Teresa Joy, and we are doing a special edition of this podcast today where we're going to entitle Pivoting with Purpose. And some of the things we'll discuss today is untraditional ways to get into technology and ways to, I guess, feel comfortable in the space despite feeling like you may be underprepared. So before I allow the ladies to introduce themselves, I will ask one question. We'll get to a untraditional start for an untraditional podcast. Today's question is, if someone offered you a dream job tomorrow, but it meant completely changing careers, would you take the leap? I'm going to start with Alexis.
Oh, that's a good question. Would I take the leap? Maybe. I don't have a yes or a no. I'm a type personality. I have questions.
I mean, even if it was your dream job.
If it was my dream job, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Is there money involved? Like,
right. Well, is it an increased compensation?
Right.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, then yeah. If it's my dream job, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's go.
I would say yes. My answer has changed in recent years. Mm-hmm. A while back, I would say a few years back, I would have said no, just because I had a fixed version of what success looked like for me.
Yeah.
And now I realize that everything doesn't go according to that strict plan that we have, in our minds. So yeah, I definitely would. It does depend on compensation, though. Like, the money is a big factor there.
So it could be your dream job, but not paying enough.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. I feel like a part of it being your dream job for most, working Americans is that it has to pay the bills. That is like one of the stipulations. I feel like if someone were to offer me my dream job is so silly. It's not even in technology.
Mine isn't either.
I would seriously. Like I would be a fashion designer. I would own a fashion house. I've wanted to do it since I was a little girl. But I would have to be successful at it. That would have to be the stipulation.
I'm a professional traveler. That would be the dream career.
Oh no, yes.
I'm going everywhere. I'm going to travel this planet.
Absolutely. And so, okay, I guess I'll now give you an opportunity to kind of like introduce yourselves, right? We're going to kind of start like name, what do we do now? And one sentence about how you arrived where you are today. So like, even if maybe not even a sentence, but like maybe you use a word to describe how you arrived to where you are today. Maybe resilience, maybe confidence. We're going to start off with Teresa Joy.
Hi, everyone. I am Teresa Joy. I am currently a network security specialist while I am finishing up my Bachelor's of Science in Cybersecurity. Mm-hmm. And one word to describe how I arrived in tech would be optimism.
Yeah.
I have to stay optimistic. I really have a fixed mindset, which I'm working to get out of.
Yeah.
But optimism keeps me going. It keeps me ambitious. So I would say optimism.
Yeah.
Just looking at the bright side of things. What about you?
So I'm Alexis Caleb. I am the Associate Director of Global Talent Delivery. And probably the word I would use for my career would be I'm a forever learner.
Yeah.
So for me, learning new tools, technology helps me deliver proper talent for those opening jobs, for those needs at company, gaining certifications. So I'm a book nerd for sure.
Yeah.
Like, give me a book, let me learn. And to me, it made my job so much easier learning the things that you guys do every day.
Yeah.
I might not be hands-on, but I can describe your job to you. You're like, that's exactly what I do. So it helps in our job because I can deliver for a client. I can deliver for someone out here looking for a job. I can help them find, because I'm like, I understand what you do. Let me go find you a job.
Absolutely. And I would add on to that what Alexis does is extremely important in our field because
It keeps me busy.
we have to get hired, y'all. And I think that is a big conversation right now, as you know, we've had ups and downs in the recent economy, and especially in technology specifically, having people that really care for what they do and are passionate about placing the right people into the right jobs is more critical now than I think ever. And so I can definitely say that I do have some friends that sit on the talent acquisition side for sure. I keep some under my belt because it's increasingly more important. So I guess I can do a little bit about me. So I've been on this podcast once before. So I don't know if anybody's seen that episode, but I am Colette Jones. And at the time that I was previously here, I was doing cyber control testing. And now I've had a bit of a turn. My bank was acquired, and I now sit as a IT and cyber risk partner, which is a kind of step up from what I was doing. It went more from execution to strategy, and I think that was an unexpected turn in such adversity especially. But that's definitely a kind of reoccurring theme in technology, I would say, is expect the unexpected. You never know when your next pivot and or promotion can come, and you have to be very adaptable in any role that you're in within technology. So that's just a little bit about me. I guess from here we can kind of flow into the next set of questions, which today will be, knowing what you know now, what would you tell the version of yourself who was still trying to figure it out? Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
That's a good question.
Y'all say, we got to think about that.
If I was still trying to figure it out, if I was speaking to my younger self and knowing what I know now, I would tell her to take the risk sooner.
Really?
That would be what I would tell her. Take the risk sooner. Change gears sooner.
And I find that interesting, considering that I feel like I struggle with themes of risk adversity, not wanting to take the risk. I feel like in technology, that's the whole thing. Everything is a series of just really big risk and next steps. And so I really resonate with that one seriously. I think that if you take anything from this podcast today, pivoting is going to take accepting that you have to take risk and being confident in how you do so. So I think that's one of those things where we want to stick a pin in that and let's come back to that one because that was a good one. And so Teresa, for you, I guess, if you could go back to your former self, prior to making and accomplishing things, setting out those achievements, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell my younger self that consistency beats perfection.
Yeah.
In the technology world, there's this pressure to perform or pressure to produce, but every day won't look the same, right?
Yeah.
So even if you do have a bad day or you have a day that's not really optimal for your liking, the next day might be better.
Yeah.
You just have to keep going, and you have to keep showing up for yourself. And that's the only way to get to your goal,
That's true.
And I kind of want to bring the consistency conversation back, and because I feel like they had an episode on this podcast where they spoke about, consistency and hard work outbeating talent, right? When talent doesn't work hard. And I think that's a reoccurring theme in technology. And I feel like, yet again, we're just starting this episode and we're already nailing a lot of the things that it takes to pivot, especially into technology. So I think that was an interesting point that you just brought up there. And it's something to think about, for everybody going forward, because even studying for these certifications, sometimes, and I spoke about this previously, breaking things down into work blocks, doing that over a course of time, and that consistency will more than likely add up to more, sufficient accomplishments than you just trying to be perfect on that first go,
Right.
because it's not likely. You're learning something new all the time in technology. That won't stop either. So consistently going and progressing each day, even if it's in small increments, is more likely to get you there than you needing to be perfect right now.
Right.
So I really like that you brought that up. Yeah. Oh, interesting one. Once you got in, what surprised you most about working in or around technology?
I would say that technology is more so built on communication
Yeah.
rather than the technical aspects of technology. You have to be able to engage, people that aren't really familiar with the technical jargon. You have to
Yeah.
be able to engage stakeholders and keep that engagement so that they will understand what you're talking about and they can, help you in their department, or you can, you're able to actually get your point across without sounding too complicated or too, convoluted. Communication is a big aspect in technology that surprised me the most.
Yeah.
I think what surprised me the most is technology as a whole is one of the few industries that you cannot fake it till you make it. You either know it or you don't. There's no gray area there. You're either actively practicing in your field and implementing and actually executing things, or you are not. And when you're not, we can tell.
Yeah.
So can your boss. But it is one of the few industries where it's not like one of those, well, I can learn as I go. You have to literally come in knowing, or at least knowing the majority of it. There are going to be tools and skills that can be taught, right in the field, but there are going to be skills and tools that you have to learn and learn solidly to perform. So that's one of the things that surprised me, that you literally can't fake what you know in tech.
And I think what's so interesting about that is, I think in corporate in general, we often have this conversation about like the personality hire. And I'm like, well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like technology is just one of those places where, unfortunately, like no matter how much personality you have, there is no quite personality hire, because unless they're just hiring random people, you have to be qualified, bringing it back to your point, in some type of way. But then I also kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying, which is communication. And I would even go as far as to say, like, your business soft skills, period, is going to be important in technology. There are very few spaces that exist now within technology where you can just sit in the back room and code, right? Because, I'm not saying that there are some people that may not still have that sweet spot, but for most people, especially working in the private sector, specifically in corporate, you are expected to juggle both those business soft skills and those technical skills. And I feel like that's what makes the job just 10% harder, because whereas some people maybe potentially in other fields where they only have to master that one and then be somewhat knowledgeable on other things, we have to kind of figure out how we're going to have, especially if you want career growth, how you're going to have both. And I've seen some very great technologists lose their job because they just did not have those business soft skills. They could not communicate to their boss, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the value that I'm adding. And I'm willing to also collaborate with others, right? So I think it's interesting that you all brought that up. And I also would say that one of the things that surprised me most when I got into technology was the sheer amount of like cross collaboration between departments, right? Especially with me working in the financial industry, like a lot of my business partners in consumer wealth and X, Y, and Z. And it's just, I had to use a lot of my business skills to be successful at this job. So yeah, I find the conversations we're having to be interesting because I feel like we're drawing into the meat and potatoes and we just got started. Question, right? We're going into kind of technology isn't just coding. So what else is there? Let's make this a little practical. What does an ordinary workday actually look like for each one of you? So tell us a little bit about what is your day-to-day looking like? We'll start with Alexis.
My day-to-day typically looks like a lot of meetings. We meet about everything. Besides the meeting, it's usually a layout of, what's a priority, and we just kind of prioritize our day as far as what's the most dire need, what's the most urgent need. Because we are, for the company that I work for, B2Soft, it's got to shut them up. We have an abundance of clients, and we cover 6 different countries. We have 16 offices, so we have a very large staff. So our customers are depending on us being both efficient and expediting their need. So I need to have proper talent in front of me. So my job, my day-to-day is literally scoping out the latest and greatest in technology, whether it's machine learning, AI, looking for the latest and greatest in, the next BA, network engineers, software engineers, just being able to deliver at a high level, not just looking at a candidate like you said, a smiling face. I want you to have personality, yes.
Yes.
But you also have to have the skill set that follows that. And I do realize that in some cases in tech, a lot of people put a lot more preference on themselves of being on, I'm great at my job, when really their skill set needs a little bit of fine tuning. And that's a hard conversation to have sometimes. But my day to day, I have to deal with those things. I have to come to the face, of a candidate and say, don't really fit the mark for this position. However, try to help them navigate around that and find something that's more suitable for them. But that's literally the day, what my day-to-day consists of looking at the top talent, looking at the trends. What's the next big boom in tech? Looking at anywhere from acquisitions, companies that's being acquired because they can't keep all the staff. We know that that's part of the business.
Right.
So what do we do with that? Those are people who need jobs. That's my job, is to help you find a job.
Right.
So my day typically looks like that. I'm watching everything. So this economy affects jobs.
Yeah.
It's like watching the weather in our line of business, because we've got to look and see what's going on in the economy to figure out who's going to be the next person that we have to help. Who's going to be losing? Who possibly could be losing their job in the next merger?
Right.
How can we keep these people employed? It brings me joy to help another person find employment, because we know how important that it is.
Right.
Just like you said, we live in America. We got bills to pay.
Yeah.
I want to be able to help every person I can in tech. If they lose a job, I want to help them fast.
Yeah.
I want to put them back to work, because we all got bills to pay.
Right.
No. That was extremely insightful, and I'll hold my commentary on that because I have that. Just going through that acquisition just now was so intense, and to see other companies come to the aid or other talent acquisition professionals come to the aid of the people who were being let go from our company and try to assist in placing them, and then watching it happen too was very interesting, and I think it really taught me something about the tech ecosystem and how that support is there and how we do support each other. So Teresa Joy, let's get practical. What's your day-to-day looking like?
My day-to-day, okay, so I work in incident response, so no 2 days look the same. My day-to-day I will just give you a general overview. It can consist of open source intelligence and how it pertains to nonprofits. I work for a nonprofit that handles the technical department for 36 other nonprofits across Michigan. So that can be ticket triage, that can be risk acceptance, risk avoidance, risk management. Like I said, incident response, anything from phishing to malware, all of it is being handled by me. Lots and lots of stand-ups, lots and lots of meeting with executives and making sure that they have the proper tools to respond or report a potential threat, things like that.
So you are in the weeds of
Yes,
technology.
I am in the fire department of cybersecurity.
Yes, and you're one of my favorite people to talk to in terms of like, I love, the girlies in cybersecurity because I feel like it's not a lot of us. And so I kind of want to ask you a follow-up in terms of like, do you ever feel isolated in your field?
Absolutely. Yeah. Being in a blend of marginalized groups as a woman and as a Black woman,
Yeah.
I do feel a certain type of imposter syndrome when it comes to talking to people who may have been in this field a long time, may have a potential, dominance over their say and their decisions. And so it may feel a bit lonely at times.
Yeah.
But I have to remember my whys.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of them, and they keep me going. And so I really just sit with myself when I feel like that and say, okay, what do I need?
Yeah.
What would keep me going in this moment? And then we just move forward. We take charge.
Okay.
I hear that a lot, though, from people on tech that they sometimes, and it's not just in your field, that they feel like they're out on an island by themselves.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing themselves a disservice because there's so many organizations that people in tech can join
Yes.
and really meet your match. Those are your people.
Yeah.
And they do exist. You just got to go out and find them. They make you, especially in Detroit, big city, huge tech industry. I can guarantee you there are probably 500 other people, especially women, who are in your field. But for some reason in our city, we're not connected. There's like a gap missing
Silos,
there.
yeah.
I feel like it's bottlenecked into one spot, and it's like,
Yeah.
you do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing. Like, we don't come united. And I'm like, it makes me want to start different nonprofits.
You're right.
Like for each industry, like, hey, here are your
Right.
people. Here's your tribe. I have gathered them.
What I notice in the tech industry is there are a lot of introverts. When you are constantly staring at screens and constantly responding to threats and constantly studying, there's not really that time to socialize.
Yeah.
So we become a little bit more recluse, and it makes a potential problem when you want to communicate your needs or meet people that are on the same wavelength, which isolates us further.
I think working from home contributes to
Yes,
that as
absolutely.
well. 'Cause
Yeah.
home is safe space. So why leave your safe space to
Right.
take a risk?
Exactly.
Getting out here to meet some people, and it's like,
Right.
I encourage people, if you work from home, go outside, touch some grass.
Yeah.
Okay?
You got to.
You've got to go outside.
Absolutely.
You have got to
Yes.
experiment with life. You've got to go meet the people. Like I said, go find your tribe. And we do have a lot of tech meetups here that actually do happen.
Yeah.
And networking events during the week. Go to one and just sit there and just take in the vibes, take in the people.
Yeah, it's so funny. I see what y'all did there. Okay, we'll get back to
Y'all on my
that.
tribe.
Right. I was like, I see what you did there.
I
Okay.
love me some tech girlies.
Right. I was like, okay, we circling back. All right. So, our last question in this section is: what skills can someone bring from another career that are genuinely valuable in technology?
Some of the skills that I think people don't take into account of, I'll give a good example, one that I tend to use. If you are managing other people in groups, or just managing the day-to-day, like a stay-at-home mom, you are literally a program manager, or you're a project manager. The project is the family, and you are literally managing all these different dynamics. I know several women who were quote-unquote stay-at-home moms who switched over to project management, who then in turn flowed into IT project management. But it stemmed from that, where they were able to navigate the space and show, I know how to manage a group of people. Those people being little people, toddlers. If those are the most unmanaged group in society, they're going to do their own thing. They're not listening. Everybody's doing something different all at the same time. But transferring those skills over into that space is one of the most transferable skills that you can have, is being able to put in words that you can manage projects and plans and stay on task within a group of people. Can easily be translated over into a position, and especially into tech. That's one of the soft skills. Good communication. Good communication can land that job for you that they may have passed up on you just because maybe you didn't hit all the markers, but because you can speak well and you have technical aptitude, that puts you at the forefront, because not everybody can do that. I hear a lot of people say, well, good example, a resume. I don't know how to put into words what I do. Why? You've been doing this for 3 years. Exactly. Why can't you tell me in 10 bullets what you do?
Right.
And we have AI. Let AI help you.
No.
I'm like, sometimes I tell people, I say, do you still have a copy of your old job description? Are you doing those tasks? I bet you're doing more than that. Add to that list. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
But I think that those are one of the few skills. There's so many skills that can be transferred, but good communication, like you said, that's key. That can take you so many places. I've seen interviews be the differential between candidates. Like, that candidate really talked too well. I like that they look great on paper, but when we're talking to them in an interview, they just didn't land it.
Yeah.
But I'd rather give it to this guy because the few things that he's missing, we can teach him in 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to let you go because because I have things to say about that. I'm going to let you go because that'll segue potentially into our next question.
A lot of people also don't know that tech is so broad. We have so many sectors in tech. We have fintech, if you're
Yes.
good with numbers. We have health tech if you come from a background in nursing. We have ed tech if you come from a background of education. So there's so many sectors that we have and so many tunnels that lead to other areas
Yeah.
that can give you those transferable skills and you can bring from your previous sector.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. They think it's just, the technical coding. You're just in
Yeah.
that back room, as you said,
And that's
coding away, but that's not it. You have project management, program management, product owner.
Yeah.
You have so many other avenues that can be completed without the actual technical, experience.
Yeah, and I think as a lady who's done a decent amount of different roles in technology, I would even argue that some of the technical jobs, you don't necessarily have takes you navigating the unknown quite a bit. And I feel like if you're a risk adverse person, sometimes that can be a bit scary. It's a skill that you can pick up, but I'll say I never play about the project managers because I know that job is insane. I'm so serious. I feel like some people be like, oh, that's not a part of technology. Let's stop that too. Because please let's stop that because let's stop the whole real tech and cyber versus the non-real tech and cyber because there is no such thing. We all function within either the public or private sector. We're making somebody money and we work together to get that main objective done, right? So I would say that if you are a young lady or a young man or a man or a woman that is interested in project management, I would take that with the same level of seriousness. It's like going in and having a technical job, because what you have to know about everything to successfully do that job, to me, is a little bit more overwhelming than some of the technical jobs I've had.
Mind you, she is managing our project right now, and she's doing a phenomenal job. Do not listen to her.
No,
She's doing a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
Hey, y'all
As
know
much as she says she hates it.
She's great at it.
I had to go on that rant because I'm feeling that in my spirit right now. But if you like IT project management, cyber project management, I give you the biggest kudos, and I say go for it. Just know that, like, you are the boss. I'm so sorry. Like, when it's your fault, it's your fault. When it's going great, they're going to only give you half the credit.
Yeah.
It's my job to get her to pivot, y'all. I promise you, the next 2 years, project management side. She's going to pivot. She thinks she's not, but I'm slowly getting her to talk into this.
I'm sorry.
She's
I
going to
can't.
maneuver right into that role. But like 2 years from now, I can't even believe that I'm doing project management.
So, we're going to do something fun. And I almost broke my printer this morning in order for us to do it.
Uh-oh.
Pivot, not pivot. Okay?
My favorite game.
My little single cartridge of ink was fighting for his life this morning. But this section, I'm going to name off some careers in technology, and the ladies and I are going to either put up pivots or not pivots to indicate what we would or would not do. And this is not to say that you should take our advice on anything, because there's obviously people that love all of these careers that we're about to name next, but we thought it would be fun because I'm sure we all have very different reasons. You're going to see it's going to differ quite a bit on what we would and would not go into. And I think it was a great way to represent how, based on who you are, some things may not work for you, some things may. And I think we're going to have some interesting conversation on how what's important to you in your outside life will determine what type of career you pick up in technology. So, with that being said, we're going to start off with, because I'm participating, software engineer. Yeah, okay. So, let's start with you. Let's start with you, Alexis.
I say pivot only because I know that there is an abundance of need in certain spaces for these.
Of course you would know.
I know that I know it seems saturated.
Yeah, but not
that
really.
is not always the case, because it's the skills that make the difference of the software engineer.
Yep.
It's all software engineers are not equal.
Right.
So, and it also depends on what industry you're going into.
Right.
That is going to make a huge difference. So that's kind of why I said pivot.
Okay. So are you finding, because I'm just going to ask transparently, are you finding that they're needing more seniors? Is that what this is about? More managerial senior level software engineers?
Not really. I would probably say mid-level and senior.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Is way more common. Every now and then a junior person, and it kind of depends on the company, because one company, I always tell people, don't get hung up on titles when it comes to anything in tech, because what's senior at one company is very junior at the next. So you really have to look at those job descriptions, and don't lay so much even into the job description, because a lot of those are generic.
Yeah.
So sometimes they are like put together. They're meshed with two jobs that they have. They really want the person to have this skill set and this skill set. It could be, what we call like the purple unicorn. They really don't exist unless they've had navigated a space where they had to do both of those jobs. It's going to be a very rare find. So I always tell them, if the job is speaking to, good example, Java developer, if it's highlighting being a Java developer, put your Java skills out there first. If you got anything else that's kind of outside of the realm, that cool. Yeah. But if it's really hyper focused on being a Java developer and delivering on that, focus your resume on that.
Yeah.
I chose not pivot. I have a lot of friends in the software engineering space, and they do a lot of thankless work. It's a lot of time and dedication that is put into coding. I am more non-technical. That is my goal in cybersecurity. And software engineering is a job where it's high, like you said earlier, you either know it or you don't.
Yeah.
And there's no room for wavering.
No.
And me, I like to learn as I go. So software engineering that's just not for me.
I can agree. I have some scripting experience, very limited. And I'll tell you right now that trying to pick it up after I got into the tech industry mid-job was probably what traumatized me dearly. And I'm not a big fan of any work that is going to require me to be tediously doing something for it to break. And then I have to troubleshoot it. And now a whole work week is down on one thing because we're in, and I'm sure this goes for any of us, the work is still piling on. So you're doing this and they're giving you 5 more, additional tasks. It stresses me. And my anxiety, I'm sorry, y'all. That's one of those things you have to know about yourself.
You either like coding or you don't.
You know?
Yeah.
Or should say, you're either passionate about it or you're not. And
Exactly.
those who are passionate about it, they love it.
It's two different things.
It's two
Yeah.
different things. They love it. The ones who love it,
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And in addition to coding, there's a lot of things that go into the software development life cycle.
Yes.
Like testing, and then you have like peer review, things like that. And if those don't pass the vibe check, I'll call it, then you have to start all over. And that's just not something that...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I cannot do.
I'm sorry. We had to do, we were doing like control testing, which is a process in itself, from my perspective. And we're working with a decreased staff, and it took forever. And by the time we just recently got done, I was like, no, we've been on the same task too long. I'm ready to do something different. And that goes back to knowing yourself and knowing what you can and cannot deal with. That is software engineer. I'm sure it's someone's passion and or someone's dream job. It's just not going to be for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I guess the next role is cybersecurity analyst.
Pivot.
Ew. Pivot. Yeah, pivot.
That's insane. That might be saying something. I don't know. I think, Teresa Joy, we'll start off with you considering your in-house SME.
Cybersecurity, I've always had a passion for cybersecurity, but with the implementation of AI, I'm more leaning into AI security and making sure that there's some sort of governance over, the risk that AI, introduces into different platforms. So if I had to start all over again, I would start as an escalation from help desk and go into that cybersecurity analyst role, because I feel like it opens the floor for a lot of other roles. Yeah. And you get that experience as you're learning in between those those two floors. Yeah. You're able to actually see, the steps that lead into the final production, Yeah. So yeah, definitely pivot for me.
Okay.
I said pivot because cybersecurity, those are the IT police. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
I know so many cybersecurity pros, and we're never going to not need them.
Yeah.
No matter if it's AI involved or not.
Yeah.
If you want to run a company, big or small, someone has to be watching out for those attacks. They exist everywhere and in every industry. Yeah. That's a job that's not going to ever go anywhere, because it's required to have security. It's required to be monitored. And if you want to be successful, especially in cybersecurity, you constantly have to be learning. Yeah. And having a certification in it makes a huge difference. Yeah. It can make your career jump substantially and financially. Yeah. It's one of those, it'll always be around. So I've never, that's one of the few IT jobs that I feel like there's always consistent safety in it. Because even if you get laid off from one place, there's going to be openings because it's always a need. It's going to exist as long as tech exists.
Yeah. I would say the reason I chose pivot into a cybersecurity analyst, but then you know what? I'm going to be honest. I just didn't want to put not pivot because what I take it over my job, I work in a very specialized area of cybersecurity where we're the police of the police, right? My job is to make sure that the cybersecurity department and IT are doing what they're supposed to do. And we get a very interesting bird's eye view of the entire organization and all the technology and all the things that are going on. So would I trade my current job as a cyber and IT risk partner to do it? No, because then I also, I heard you talk about going into AI governance essentially. And one of the cool things is that my current organization, my department is handling AI governance. So I'll be able to do that. And I feel like you said, cybersecurity, and then adjacently to that, any risk related thing, right, is going to always be, you're going to have to an extent some job security, especially if you are good at it. Because we help the business make more informed decisions as new things are introduced, especially with the introduction to AI and what risk that is now open us up to. Not to mention, even global politics plays a part into how we keep our job, right?
Yeah.
War breakout, cyber crimes rise.
Yeah.
Job security.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to be that person, but it's just the case. And so I'm always a big advocate for, if you are anybody and you are thinking about joining cybersecurity, governance, risk, and compliance on either side, definitely go for it.
Absolutely.
It was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And I think that's saying a lot. Like, I don't regret it any day. So that's why I said when we all put pivot up, I was like, oh, it's interesting that everybody I talk to almost are like now seeing the value in cybersecurity, because I remember, and it still happens, when there was a time where people would kind of question, they thought we all hacked and and they didn't really know where we operated. And I still feel like in some organizations, cybersecurity experts are fighting to convince, upper level management of what the reason for the funding behind it. So technical project manager. Pivot or not pivot?
I'm
Y'all see that? Right? I was like, get it on the camera.
Only because of the things that I know. Maybe I'm in this industry of recruiting those people, and I know how much of a need they really are, depending on the line of business. On a technical aspect, there are a lot of industries that need a high-level technical manager because their portfolio is wild. And there's no way you can just not have a person running that. Like, that's just, it's job safety in those, especially larger projects is most common. Having the experience in running a large project, yes, that is a need. It almost kind of keeps you safe, because if you worked, as they call, enterprise-level projects, then they know that you have the capability and the tolerance to, like you said, monitor a bunch of people, monitor a bunch of projects, stay on task, hit every nook and cranny that someone else is going to miss if there's not a person in place. And managing all those people. I know some managers who have 400 or 500 people up under their belt. I know people who have a little less. Just kind of depends on the entity, but they will always have a job. There always is going to be a need, especially for those bigger entities.
I would say that I just told you why I wouldn't do. But see, like I said, it's not me saying not pivot because, project management. It's more so, project management. Like, I sat in that role. Like, I know the stress levels that I was under trying to manage everything. And then I think what was so crucial for me, and I think this is also dependent on where you work. I was doing project management at a mid-sized Midwest bank. That was no joke. And I think that I feel like when you have to leave work and go live your life, and you're managing stuff there and you're managing stuff in your personal life, that's a recipe for burnout for me. And I think for a lot of other people too. So I'm like, if you have it to do it and you're good at technical project management, yeah, you have a plethora of skills, and there's a lot of trust that organizations will put into you because you can be moved several different places if you have those skills. Those are extremely transferable skills. So I'm not saying not pivot because, I think lowly of it. I'm saying not pivot because I think highly of it. And I just think that depending on where you're doing that at, I don't know for my lifestyle if that's going to work.
Yeah, there are technical managers who are very in the weeds and very hands-on.
Yeah.
And then there are some that are just delegating the task and keeping everybody on task. So there lies the difference.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they'll say technical manager, but how technical do you need
Are
to be?
you getting?
Sometimes you just need just a little sprinkle of technology. It's more on the project management side.
Yeah.
You just need to have an understanding of the concepts and the methods. But then you have some that they want you to be hands-on.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are not only managing the project, but you are also performing tasks in the project. That's a whole different ballgame. And that can be very disastrous. I don't care how good you are at skills.
Yeah.
That will lead you to burnout if you're or if you're wearing multiple hats and doing that.
Yep.
That needs to be the only hat that you have. You don't need to be doing that and something else.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies, especially if they're mid-sized and smaller, they tend to do that. It doesn't always work for people. You got to have a different mindset too. That's a different level of multitasking.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about a portfolio that has millions and millions of dollars in it. That's millions and billions and dollars of risk.
And we have to also acknowledge the ambiguity you work within doing project management.
Yeah.
That was one of the, I'll be honest here. I did great during my technical rotational program, but that project management is where I got that first ding.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, I don't even play like that, because I was like, I had been getting excellent on my performance reviews prior. And I got to project management, and that was the first time where I had to take there was real feedback because your ability to be agile, make quick decisions, be able to pivot, be able to manage they're measuring you off of several different angles. You can't just be good at, I'm really good at the reporting. Cool. You got to be good at the reporting, managing of the people, communicating with upper level management to make sure they understand what's going on. Having your SMEs, whether that be data engineers or whoever else, come out of the weeds to explain to you so you know how to explain to them. That's brought up for a very specific reason because I lived that in real life. I was like, that's where my trauma is coming from with this. That's where my trauma is coming from this. It's not because it has to be that bad everywhere. It was because my experience was intense. And that project portfolio was insane too. I think that we were kind of under, so take it or leave it,
I chose not pivot because of the reliability factor. You're being relied on from executives to get this objective and complete a goal, right? But you also have to rely on your team, and you have to make sure that they're intentional about their work. And that responsibility for me just seems a little bit too much. I know that's where I would burn out because I'm good. I'm fine. I'm able to oversee these projects and see all the moving parts. But putting that trust into a team that to your point, you said it may be a lot of pressure, it may not be. You never know what you'll get. So what if you do get that team or you get that project that's very, fast paced and they need this deliverable now, and then your team is a little bit more lackadaisical, a little bit more, don't want to really be involved. How do you motivate them? That responsibility right there is just not for me. I'm good, playing the background. I can't manage a team. That's not it.
And so we'll do one last one because it's an interesting one. Data analyst, pivot or not pivot?
Ooh. Yeah. I think.
Can this represent a halfway point? Because I feel like we need a halfway point.
Yeah.
I need a halfway point because my old mentor might be watching this, and I don't want. I'm just playing, y'all. But I like data analytics when I'm not doing it for corporate.
Okay,
I can see that.
Personal projects, freelance type of stuff, doing people favors. Love it. Don't mind it. Find it interesting. for corporate, and I feel like maybe that should have been a stipulation for all of these for corporate. No, I don't enjoy it. It's a lot of, yet again, we're in that gray area, of like people expecting certain things. They're not understanding what it takes to do that job. They're expecting you to do Houdini stuff that you may not have the resources, the time, and or money from the company to do. And so now there's a lot of like magician work. You're having to wave your wand and get it done, and then they're putting deadlines on it, right? I think dealing with data in general, your ability to like accidentally skew the data, you know what I'm saying? And then they're making decisions on that. I feel like data analytics is, although it's a long term and it has been around forever, what it has evolved into now and how corporations are utilizing it to make decisions, I think just kind of make me uncomfortable from doing it as an analyst. I commend everybody that is willing to do that as a career. I just can't, because I feel like it was hard for me sometimes to tell whether I was delivering what they had asked me for. And I feel like we were in those a lot of those conversations where, okay, you asked me to do X, Y, and Z, right? And I'm not talking about ad hoc reports. I'm talking about like potentially like, dashboards and stuff like that, or like even just certain projects we were doing. I feel like I even function more in a project management role while I was doing data analytics more than like actually doing the technical work. But then I went on to my next team and I was the only person that could like dibble and dabble in like Power BI and stuff like that. And that's when I was like, oh no, this is crazy, because you just asked me to do this dashboard and you wanted X, Y, and Z, but you actually meant X, Y, and Z. So now we're at the deadline and you're like, can I add these few more things in? So now that's most data analysts are also project managers. Like, that's why I'm like, maybe I'm just done with the whole project management thing.
I chose not pivot for the same exact reason. Actually, like I fell in love with the technicals. I love SQL. Like it's just my bread and butter. But I don't like data analysis when there are KPIs involved. And when there are, market trends that you have to follow, you have to make sure that all of this data is correct and things like that, and it's this pressure and this deadline. So exact same reason. It's a midpoint for me because I do love the technicals, but I do not like it in an atmosphere where I'm being pressured to produce. So I think that's.
I said no because it definitely relies on data that can, like you said, can be obscured. Also, that's a lot of manual work. Because once you pull it and you usually can identify where the data went wrong, now you've got to go to that department or that line of business and go, something that you guys put in,
X, Y, and Z
is missing or it's wrong. And your job relies a lot on other people doing their jobs properly.
Exactly.
In order for you to even be able to successfully do
it, even make sense and deliver correctly. So it's only as good as the data is only as good as you put in. The data that's actually put in. That means the person who's putting it in has to know what they're doing or be doing their job efficiently. It's too much back and forth. I'm just like I pass it along to the next person. My tolerance for the back and forth, like tell me what to do, let me go do it, done, execute it. The back and forth where I've got to go and communicate with people and they're like, I did it right, we didn't do it right, I'm showing you didn't do it right. It's just too reliant heavily on too many different lines of business having to do their job correctly for those numbers to make sense. Also the pressure of, like you said, KPIs, the pressure of you putting pressure on me when you know that you may have a line of business that is known for not doing stuff correctly. I don't want my KPI based on somebody else's poor performance. Base it solely on mine. But I know people who love data analytics. If you're an analytical person, they love it. They don't care how much work they have to do together.
I don't like that, because to me that goes hand in hand with accounting too. This is the same reason I didn't like accounting, because the work is too tedious. And like I just said, I don't want to sit here and be, that number, that don't look right. Now I'm not getting the right thing at the end.
Exactly.
Work of that nature is just not my bread and butter, right? So data analytics is a soft no for me. I'll do it outside of a corporate setting and enjoy it when the pressure is not on. But now my job's depending on it, absolutely not. It's too much gray area still now. So Oops, too bad.
We're gonna get it by. We're gonna catch it by all the data.
I'm sorry. Like, no, I mean, I'm bigging them up because I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
I love employing them. I
just couldn't do it. Yeah. So we're moving on to myth and reality. So the objective here is this a reality of working in technology? Is this a myth? You have to know how to code to work in tech.
No.
You have to be naturally good at advanced math.
That's a myth.
No.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? I'm sorry. Well, that's not to say I don't know. Here's the thing. It could be a tech job where you have to be being a
rocket scientist,
or even building building data models could require statistics to an extent. So I guess so, but let me be quiet. You need a computer science degree to be taken seriously.
That's
no.
a myth.
I have a degree in information systems management, which is technically a business degree. So, no, you absolutely do not. If you did not start in your early 20s, you are already behind.
That's a myth.
Yeah. No. Every tech job immediately pays 6 figures.
No.
That's a myth.
Big myth. Big myth. And don't let them tell you that just because you went into cybersecurity.
Big myth.
Right. Just because you went into cybersecurity mean you. I think a lot of them come over because they're like, oh yeah, the cybersecurity, they're making a lot of money.
Yes.
No.
It depends on where you're working.
It very much depends on where you're working. I'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
Women have to become less feminine, less expressive, or more aggressive to be respected in technology. Ooh, I'm about to get this canceled. I'm about to get
I don't know.
That's a myth.
I'm gray in that area. But
yeah.
it could just be my personality though. I've never been one to dial it back in that sense of what my personality is. Is there a professional side and then there's the outside girly pop side?
Yeah.
However, I've never felt like I needed to be something that I wasn't to get where I needed to go. Like I've always been a leader, and I've pretty much always had jobs where I had to lead a team, a group, or something like that. With that being said, that's just been my personality. So I didn't have to function outside of that. Maybe that would be different if I was a shy person and timid. Now I gotta put on, I've got to puff my chest out. But I don't think I lack any femininity in any, because outside of the job, girly all day long, pink fingers. I mean, just girl, like, give me all the girl. Like I feel like I've probably gotten further by being my feminine self than being the shark.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of people come into the mindset of, I need to be a shark, I need to step on people, I need to eat, I need to just go. I don't think that you need to do that now because there's so many different avenues and industries you can make money. Yeah. I don't think you have to be the shark that you used to have to be. I think now back in the day, I think that there was you had to stand your ground because you were working in an area where the majority of the people in that arena were men. Now it's men and women. It's free game out there.
Yeah.
I say it's a myth because femininity and expression of self, period, across the board, can be used as a weapon. I am often the only woman on my team, the only woman in the room, whatever, right? But when I come into the room, I want to show you that I'm here to challenge the norm. I'm here to basically change the vision of what tech look like. Tech is a male-dominated field. We know that. We know that tech is it's marketed as logistics and moving parts and things that aren't really marketed to women. But when I show up, that shouldn't be a part of the conversation. It should be my merit. How I express myself or how I choose to show up shouldn't be the highlight of, my dedication to this field. Yeah. So I don't feel like I should have to dial back any way that I express myself because the men don't have to do it. I mean, hey.
I think for me, I'm just going to be transparent and saying that, yes, I have to code switch quite a bit to survive doing what I'm doing. And I feel like, yeah, I will be transparent in that I feel like it has made me a bit more aggressive in general, even in my outside life. And that could be the sector I'm working in, because on top of technology, I'm working in the financial industry. So things are a little bit more traditional, you know, and I'm still working with a lot of the older generations that are going by their way of doing things. Will say that I've had some very, very, very great teams where I could safe haven and be myself there. But when I'm standing independently on my own, I cannot. I'll even say that in the business that I handle outside of my job, I find now that I'm kind of like, you know, like code switching to an extent. It will take a toll on you depending on how outwardly feminine you were portraying yourself previously, right? Because like you said, like you already were a leader, period. And I don't think that, I think that can be synonymous. Femininity and power can be synonymous. But I feel like if you are, and what I'm thinking of is like docile, right? I'm gonna say come on over, but I'm gonna say that will you see yourself evolve and change as you progress? 100%. Because like in any corporate environment, there are politics, and those politics will change you in work, and you're there 8 hours. It'll start to kind of evolve you as a person outside of that place as well. But I don't think it's to your detriment necessarily. It's not like we're talking about the military, right? They're not trying to strip you of your identity. And send you back in. But do I think it takes a toll on your feminine? Yes. We'll have an after podcast conversation about that, because I have opinions.
I have a few.
Yeah.
I have a few points.
We're gonna not get canceled today. But I feel like for all the women that want to come over, don't let your outward expression of femininity stop you. We still need you. In fact, we need you because of that, actually. Like you just said, because there are now more women in all of these fields, we have now created a space where you can be more feminine. So you do have to push the envelope. Somebody is going to have to trailblaze.
I feel like if women realize that they hold the power when they walk in the room, you hold the power, you don't have to worry about a power trip because you already have it. You only power trip when you don't have the power, or you're just now getting the power. We've always had the power.
Yeah.
You have the power of yourself. You have the power over your career. You just got to learn how to bottleneck that and use it to your advantage. When you walk into a space and you die down and no one has said anything to you, but you feel yourself sinking, that's the time when you have that quick chat with yourself and you go, you got this.
Yeah.
Girl, it doesn't matter if you're the only woman in the room or if you're in a room full of 10,000 other women. I own the space that I'm in right here. This is Alexis Caleb's space. I'm not in competition with anybody in the room. I'm only here to progress. That's it. That's all.
I feel like in order to do that, to your point, there has to be a lot of looking inward before you can, express yourself and feel comfortable being grounded in yourself in a room, right? You have to know, what is your baseline? What is my self-esteem like? What is my confidence level like? How am I perceived when I walk into this room? Is it how I would like to be perceived when I walk into this room? Do I have control over that perception? Things like that. And in the tech field, you have to look inward. Like, I cannot stress that enough, because like I said, it's a male-dominated industry. You have to feel comfortable and feel confident in yourself, not to be wavered by others' opinions.
But see, in 2026, that's where I kind of give pushback. In 2026, I don't feel like tech is male-dominated anymore, because there are so many female leaders. I feel like when we say that, we take a step back and we take away from the recognition that it's no longer as dominated as we think that it is. I just think that we don't always see the other women, so we forget they may exist. But to kind of say it's still male dominated, I really don't think so like that. Not the way it was. I don't like to say that term. I like to say it's starting to get very balanced. It's way more female leaders than it has ever been.
We're progressing, right. and I think quickly. that furthers the point into, if you are a woman, if you are worried about the effects on your femininity and who you are as a person, anybody really, period. I wouldn't even put this to women, men as well. Okay. I I would say to kind of bypass that and still come in because we need you, bottom line. You just be trailblazing, and that is a part of the fun. So I think all of this is kind of coming down to us promoting our event, Pivot with Purpose. And so what it is it's for women who are curious about technology, pivoting in from different areas. We are hosting that event soon. More details to come. Check out the DevOps Detroit Instagram page for more details. And so come ready to listen, ask questions, mingle with your fellow women. And we can have some of these sidebar conversations there as well. I think it's important for us to create that level of community. And so is there any final words?
Definitely come to the event. It's going to be a great event. Our program manager, project manager, who is doing a phenomenal job. She is putting together a great event.
Absolutely.
We're going to have resources there. Definitely come and attend. Please come on out and meet us. Talk with us. Chit
We're
chat.
here for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You are safe
You
there.
are safe and you belong.
You belong.
We're going to have time.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll end that podcast for today out. And thanks for joining us on our little special episode of DevOps Detroit Podcast.